All right, we are ready to start indicator 23, and this is just a little intro to the quadratic formula. And I just want to show you some different things, how the simplifying radicals is going to apply. And also there is a new symbol that you are going to see in the quadratic formula, and it looks like this. It's a plus sign right on top of a minus sign all together. And we read this as plus or minus. And the reason why we do this, what you're being told to do is you are being told to do the work once with an addition sign to get an answer, and once with a subtraction sign to get an answer. And the plus or minus results in two answers or two solutions. So we got solutions when we factored. We would factor something and we would get our two factors, we would set them equal to 0. The quadratic formula also gives you those exact same answers. And so today I'm just showing you what your work is going to look like. And then on Monday next week we will actually take the equations and plug them into the formula. So you are going to see things today that look like this. Square root of 8 over 4. So we have 12 plus or minus the square root of 8 over 4. Now, our goal is to simplify our square root as much as we can, reduce the fractions as much as we can. On this one, the square root of 8, we can simplify or cake that. So we are going to divide by 8 divided by 2, we get 4, divide by 2, and we get 2. And we got a pair. So we know the square root of 8. We really could rewrite this as 2 times the square root of 2. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this 2 square root of 2, and we're going to plug it in right there for square root of 8. So instead of writing square root of 8, we are going to write 2 root 2 because those are equivalent. And I can show you how those are equivalent on the calculator. So this is my graphing calculator. If you are taking Algebra 2A, that is something that you are going to want to have. Next year they cost anywhere between $80 to $120 depending on where you buy them. Usually back to school, Walmart, Target, Meijer, they usually have really good deals on these calculators. But I just want you to know that if you take the square root of 8, it's going to give you a decimal, 2.8284, and it continues. Now if you do 2 square root of 2, gives you the exact same answer. They are equivalent, but the reason why we simplify those square roots is because once you have a coefficient pulled out, we can reduce if you can reduce all 3. We simplified the radical here, so we don't have to simplify the radical the second time. We reduce the coefficients. And in this case, we can reduce 12, 2, and 2. We're going to divide them all by 2. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. 2 divided by 2 would just be 1. You can put it in front of that radical or not. And then our last one is over 1, or we don't have to even put it over 1 because writing something over 1 is the same. So this would be the most simplified answer. And I will say, this and this are equal. They just, one is definitely more simple. So, and I will show you guys on there. You do get, so I'm just going to use the plus, go back to the original. The numerator is 12 plus the square root of 8, and then we divide it by 4. Alright, so there's 12 plus the square root of 8, divide it by 4. That gives me an answer. Now, that should be the same thing when I add this. 6 plus the square root of 2. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I know exactly what I did. That 4 should be a 2. Sorry. I made a mistake on my reducing. So what happened was this 4, when you divide it by 2, there's still a 2 there. So I'm going to take that answer divided by 2. There we go, and it matches. Okay, my apologies on that one. I will do one where I'm not going to make a mistake this time. All right, so let's take a look at a second one. 6 plus or minus the square root of 27 divided by 3. So let's simplify this. All right, so 27 divided by 3 is 9, divided by 3 is 3, divided by 3 we get 1. So instead of writing the square root of 27 here, instead of writing, we can now write 3 root 3. And then we want to reduce those coefficients, and so the coefficients are not the radical. We're just talking about the numbers outside, not in the radical. So 6, 3, and 3, we can reduce those by 3. So we have not 6 anymore. 2 plus or minus 1 root 3 over 1, or just 2 plus or minus root 3. Now, whenever you have a root, we just leave it as plus or minus, but that plus or minus is showing us we're getting 2 answers. That's as simple as we can go. All right, now the next example, you're going to like this a lot better. Why do I like this one a lot better? Look at that square root. The square root of 49. On this one, it's a perfect square. So we should know that the square root of 49 is 7. So on this one, whenever you actually have a perfect square, we can get 2 whole number answers. So on this one, we're going to do the work once when we add and once when we subtract. So our answer 1, I'm going to add my numerator. 6 plus 7 divided by 4, which is 13 over 4. I can't reduce it. That's my answer. Now on the second one, I'm going to subtract my numerator. 6 minus 7 over 4 gives me negative 1 over 4. Can't reduce it, so we're done. So if it is a perfect square, you will end up being able to calculate both of those answers. If it's not a perfect square, we'll simplify it and reduce it as far as we can. So this will be our last example for the day. Then you guys can do some work on your own, and don't forget to let me know if you have questions. Just send me an email. All right, 8 plus or minus the square root of 64. So we have to simplify that, which I think we all know the square root of 64 is 8. So we can add to get our first answer. 8 plus 8 divided by 8, which is 16 divided by 8, which simplifies to an even 2. And we're going to subtract 8 minus 8, which is 0. 0 divided by anything is still 0. It is okay to have a 0 as a solution. So you guys will have an assignment today that requires you to simplify some of these, and then on Monday we'll put everything all together and you will be able to see the comparison between factoring and the quadratic formula. So if you need anything at all, don't hesitate to reach out, and I will see you all soon.